Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developing Palates. I'm Aaron Loomis coming to you from the Drew Estate Studio. With me today is John McTavish from the Pastani Studios. How you doing, John?
Doing good. Excited to talk about what we're reviewing tonight, or what we've reviewed tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of, we are talking about the Casa 1910 Soldadera Edition La Coronela. The cigars are double Robusto, 5.5 inch by 58 ring gauge. Comes out of the Tabacalera La Isla factory in the Dominican Republic. Wrapper's Ecuadorian Habano. Binder is Brazilian Arapiraca. Filler is from Mexico and the Dominican Republic. Blended by Manolo Santiago. Price point is $20, and cigar released in February of 2023. So with all that out of the way, John, what was your overall experience like with this cigar?
So I actually really dug this, and normally I'm a bit of a snob when it comes to larger ring gauge cigars. So I'll kind of talk about that afterwards. But I really got some sort of sweet bread and wood to kick off, and then as it sort of settled in, I think it was really the Arapiraca binder that came through. This really sort of rich stewed fruit, which I oftentimes get from Brazilian tobacco, and I really like. And it didn't have any harsh elements to it. It didn't have any bitterness to it. It was really quite a nice combination. A little bit of light baking spices, just really as an accent. So it wasn't heavy on the palate at all. I would describe the first third as almost like a light plus medium minus, just soft, elegant combination of flavors. Second third started out with spices and then kind of evolved into bread and wood. A little bit of fruit sweetness coming back, like stewed fruits. So again, sort of a really nice natural sweetness to it. A little bit of chocolate as well. And then last third kind of fell apart on me, and I'll get into that a little bit, but got some char and some bitterness. It kind of went away after a few puffs, and then got a little bit of creaminess, and then that sort of came back along with some fruit sweetness. And the bitterness and the char was just really distracting, unfortunately. And I think what happened is I think there was a potentially an issue in the bunching here. So I had a relatively straight burn through the first third, and then when I got into the second third, the burn sort of became really wonky. I didn't really have to do much to it until sort of about halfway through, and when I took a look at it, there was sort of a very visible tunnel developing where, like just total failure of leaf placement. So once I touched that up, it continued to burn, but I think that probably if that leaf placement may have affected that last third. At any rate, draw was pretty on point, little bit into the resistant region, but not really anything major. So I came out with it with a good experience. What about you?
Yeah, for me, the cigar started with toasted cedar, baking spice, and earth. Baking spice transitioned to black pepper a little bit later. Got some chalkiness that joined in after. Then the second third saw the toasted cedar and the earth become even. And the final third saw the toast level become heavy and a vegetal note joined in. Um, the cigar was pretty consistent through the first two thirds. It was an average flavor profile for me, and then kind of fell off a bit in the final third. So we kind of had a similar trajectory there. The toast level just became heavy, and that vegetal note joined in, and the strength picked up. So it kind of took it down a level for me. Um, not as interesting as the previous two versions in the Soldadera edition, I thought, and just not something I really see myself coming back to. I had a similar performance in regards to you, a little bit wavy throughout. I had to do a touch up once as well, slightly snug draw. Yeah, I don't know if it was just this one. These weren't rolled the same with the other ones, these being larger ring gauge than I think the other two versions that we've smoked in the line. It just yeah, it just wasn't as I don't know. This just seemed like it was kind of things were a little bit muddled together,
Mm.
with a little bit that snug draw and kind of some of the burn issues. So just yeah, unfortunate. But the other two in the line were pretty interesting and enjoyable experiences. All right, let's get into the scores. Start out with you at top at 6.47. I give it a 5.05. How's that 6.47 match up for you?
Yeah, it matches up well. I mean, obviously, it's going to be held back by the burn. So I think flavor profile wise, to me, this kind of lands in that 6.65, 6.7 region, which is pretty good. So overall score is a little lower than it should be, really.
Yeah, my 5.05 matches up well. I mean, it was a below average flavor profile for me.
Mm.
Construction was, kind of iffy on there, so that kind of knocks it down even a bit more. Just not a cigar I think I have any interest in really returning, just to even see if a better constructed version would perform better. I mean, the other ones in the line just performed good enough that I would kind of
Yeah,
focus on those. 58 ring gauge really is not my preferred thickness to smoke anyway. So I know I think Manolo said this is his favorite of the line. So that, kind of bums me out that we maybe have different palates in regards to that. So,
yeah,
but it's okay. That's why he has 3 different blends in the series, and
that's right.
you get to pick the one that you like. So, all right. Any final thoughts from you on this one?
Yeah, I would. We're going to be talking about the PCA, and I think one of the things I'm going to mention to him is, have you tried blending this in a sub 50 ring gauge size? Because I really feel like this is a perfect example to me of if you just brought that cigar down to a 46, I feel like this blend would really pop. And maybe it's not what he wanted. Maybe he wanted a lot of a more of a softer profile, but I feel like some of those tobaccos in there, it's like a big block car. Like you got to let it off the chains. You got to let it drive. If you're going to have those big tobaccos in there, you got to let them really sing. And I feel like in the big ring gauge, muddled was a good word. They, sometimes they get run over by the wrapper, or the binder, or the other tobaccos in there. So I'd like to see this in a smaller ring gauge. I don't know that he has any interest in doing that, but it'll be an interesting conversation nonetheless.
Yeah, because it's interesting you say that because I just was looking back and thinking about all the variations of the lines that they have, and I think the initial release, that Cuchillo Parado, was probably the smallest
Yeah,
thinnest ring gauge and it was just a traditional Robusto 5x50. I don't think they have anything below a 50 ring gauge in any
no,
of their offerings. They have 9. I think they're at 9 releases now,
yeah, it's a
and
pretty
everything's 50 and
full
above. And
portfolio.
I think they tend to go more on the, you know, 54 and up kind of a
Yeah,
trajectory. They have some 60s and stuff like that. So yeah, it would be interesting maybe trying some thinner ring gauge, especially with a more Mexican focused blend, and some, just to kind of see
yeah.
how that goes. But
And it very well could be that there's just a value proposition of, reducing it to a smaller ring gauge might only save a couple dollars in the size. So, if you're looking
yeah,
at $18 for call it a Corona Gorda or Corona Larga versus $20 for what it really amounts to a Petite Gordo, maybe people just aren't willing to spend that. So
yeah.
absolutely could be a case. So yeah,
All right, wherever you're catching this video, be sure to like and subscribe, but check out the full written review on the website, developingpalace.com. You can follow us on all the social media channels and catch all of our review recaps on podcasts. So iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thanks for tuning in. We will catch you on the next one.
La Coronela.